Hi! Today is Judges 16 through 18. Thanks for joining. Samson and Delilah. One day Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. He went in to spend the night with her. The people of Gaza were told, Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and laid in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, At dawn we will kill him. But Samson laid there only until the middle of the night. But then he got up and he took hold of the doors at the city gate. Together with the two posts, he tore them loose, bar and all. Whoa. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him, so that we may tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. So Delilah said to Samson, Tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued. Samson answered her, If anyone ties me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. Then the rulers of the Philistines brought 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him with them. With men hidden in the room, she called him and said, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Didn't he wonder? I always read that and I always wonder, didn't he wonder why he was tied up after he told her the exact thing? I guess he maybe didn't care or something. Like he knew what she was doing, but maybe was in so much infatuated with lust with her that he didn't even care that she was tying him up with stuff after he just told her
I just wonder that too.
the lie.
Maybe he told somebody else too, randomly.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just one-on-one she asked him.
But maybe he had told another friend or something, and he thought, oh.
I don't know. It doesn't say he did that. Then Delilah said to Samson, You have made a fool of me. Okay. You lied to me. Come now and tell how you can be tied. He said, If anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and tied him up with them. Then, with men hidden in the room, she called and said, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the ropes off of his arms as if they were threads. Delilah then said to Samson, All this time you've been making a fool of me and lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied up. He replied, If you weave the 7 braids of my hair into fabric on a loom and tighten it with a pin, I'll become as weak as any other man.
I would have told her something fake, just to test her.
Yep. Me too. Guys, if you're watching this, my wife Sarah and I, she happens to be cleaning dishes right now. We just ate breakfast. We do these morning Bible teachings. Give a little commentary, just share our thoughts as we read, and just wanted to post them in case anybody wanted to join and listen. If you like to watch stuff instead of, opening up the Bible or going to church, well, here you go. All right. So again, she said, The Philistines are upon you. He woke up from his sleep and pulled the loom with the fabric apart easily. Then she said to him, How can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you've made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength. With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick of death of it. So he told her everything, the truth. No razor has ever been used on my head, as we read yesterday, because I've been a Nazarite, dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man. When Delilah now saw that he had told her everything and the truth, she sent word back to the Philistine rulers. Come back once more. He has told me everything this time. So the Philistine rulers returned with silver in their hands. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called for someone to shave his 7 braids of hair, and so began to subdue him, and his strength left him. Then she called, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. And he woke up from his sleep and thought, I'll go out before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Man, that's wild. He didn't know that the Lord had left him. Man. Then the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes, took him down to Gaza, binding him with bronze shackles, and set him up grinding grain in the prison. But the hair on his head began to grow back after it had been shaved. Now the rulers of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon their god to celebrate, saying, "Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands." When the people saw him, they praised their god Dagon, saying, "Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste to our land and multiplied our slain." While they were in high spirits from drinking, they shouted, "Bring out Samson to entertain us so we can mock him." So they called Samson out of the prison, and he performed for them. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hands, he said, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support this temple, so I can lean up against them." The temple was crowded with men and women, all the rulers of the
he blind
Philistines.
now?
Yeah, he's blind. It says, the temple was crowded with men and women, all the rulers of the Philistines were there, and on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. When Samson prayed to the Lord, he said, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more and let me with one blow, get revenge on the Philistines for my eyes." Then Samson reached towards the two central pillars on which the temple stood. He braced himself against them, his right hand on one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, "God, let me die with the Philistines." And then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed more people when he died than when he lived. Then his brothers and his fathers and his whole family went down to get him, and they brought him back and buried him between Zorah and Eshtal in the tomb of Manoah his father. And Samson had led Israel for 20 years. Crazy story. Chapter 17. Micah's idols. Now a man named Micah from the hill country of Ephraim said to his mother, "The 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, about which I heard you utter a curse, I have made that silver with me, and I took it." Then his mother said, "The Lord bless you, son." When he returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother, she said, "I solemnly consecrate my silver to the Lord for my son to make an image overlaid with silver, and I will give it back to you." So, after he returned the silver to his mom, she took the 200 shekels of silver and gave them to a silversmith, and he used them to make an idol. That's crazy. You know, whenever I was a kid, I would read or hear stuff like that or read in the Bible at church. And I would think, man, how could you make an idol out of like gold or silver or wood or stone and like bow down to it, right? How could you do that? When you know that there's a God in heaven that created everything by speaking it into existence, and you know you can't see him, you can just see his effects. And I thought, man, that's so crazy that people would do that. But then later on in life, I found myself making idols in my mind and my desires of things like money, success, drugs, alcohol, women. Like anything can become an idol. Your car, your job, your popularity. If you're a woman, men can become that. Wanting praise, wanting to be beautiful, wanting people to like your stuff on social media. You want all the glory. You want all the clout. You want all the fame, fortune. We make all these idols that aren't carved out of wood, stone, or silver or gold. So, just be very cautious and aware of what idols that you're making in your heart. As a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, who had been living with the clan of Judah, left that town in search of some other place to stay. And on his way, he came to Micah's house in the hill country of Ephraim. Micah asked him, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, and I'm looking for a place to stay." Then Micah said to him, "Live with me and be my father and priest, and I'll give you 10 shekels of silver a year, your clothes and your food." So the Levite agreed to live with him, and the young man became like one of his sons to him. Then Micah installed the Levite, and the young man became his priest and lived in his house. And Micah said, "Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest." The Danites settle in Laish, Judges 18. In those days, Israel had no king, and in those days the tribe of the Danites was seeking a place of their own where they might settle. It's a little dark in here. I'm going to turn on this light. See if this light helps. Oh yeah, better lighting. because they had not yet come to an inheritance among the tribes of Israel. Okay, so the Danites sent 5 of their leading men from Zorah and Eshtaol to spy out the land and explore it. These men represented all the Danites. They told them, "Go explore the land." So they entered the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah, where they spent the night. When they were near Micah's house, they recognized the voice of the young Levite. So they turned in there and asked him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? Why are you here?" He told them what Micah had done for him and said, "He's hired me and I am his priest." Then they said to him, "Please inquire of God to learn whether our journey will be successful." And the priest answered them, "Go in peace. Your journey has the Lord's approval." So the 5 men left and came to Laish, where they saw that the people were living in safety, like the Sidonians, at peace and secure. And since their land lacked nothing, they were prosperous. Also, they lived a long way from the Sidonians and had a relationship with anyone else. Had no relationship with anyone else. When they returned to Zorah and Eshtaol, their fellow Danites asked them, "How did you find things? How do you find things?" They answered, "Come on, let's attack them. We have seen the land and it's very good. Aren't you going to do something? Don't hesitate to go there and take it over. When you get there, you'll find an unsuspecting people in a spacious land that God has put into our hands, a land that lacks nothing whatever or whatsoever." Then 600 men of the Danites armed for battle set out for Zorah and Eshtaol. On their way, they set up camp near Kiriath Jearim in Judah. This is the place west of Kiriath Jearim that is called Mahaneh Dan to this day. From there they went on to the hill country of Ephraim and came to Micah's house. Then the 5 men who had spied out the land of Laish said to their fellow Danites, "Do you know that one of these houses has an ephod, some household gods with an image overlaid with silver? Now you know what to do." So they turned in there and went to the house of the young Levite at Micah's place and greeted him. Then the 600 Danites armed for battle stood at the entrance of the gate. The 5 men who had spied out the land went inside and took the idol, the ephod, and the household gods, while the priest and the 600 armed men stood at the entrance of the gate. When the 5 men went into Micah's house and took the idol, the ephod, and the household gods, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They answered him, "Be quiet, don't say a word. Come with us and be our father and priest. Isn't it better that you can serve a tribe and clan in Israel as priest rather than just one man's household?" And the priest was very pleased. He took the ephod, the household gods, and the idol and went along with the people. Putting their little children, their livestock, and possessions in front of them, they turned away and left. When they had gone some distance from Micah's house, the men who lived near Micah were called together and overtook the Danites. As they shouted after them, the Danites turned and said to Micah, "What's the matter with you that you called out your men to fight?" He replied, "You took the gods I made and my priest, and you went away. What else do I have? How can you ask what's the matter with you?" The Danites answered, "Don't argue with us, or some of the men may get angry and attack you. You and your family will lose your lives." So the Danites went on their way, and Micah, seeing that they were too strong for him, turned and went back home. Then they took what Micah had made and his priest and went to Laish against a people at peace and secure. They attacked them with the sword and burned down their city. There was no one to rescue them because they lived a long way from Sidon and had no relationship with anyone else. The city was in a valley near Beth Rehob. The Danites rebuilt the city and settled there. They named it Dan after their ancestor Dan, who was born to Israel. That's one of Joseph's sons. If you read in Genesis, Dan was one of the sons of one of the brothers. Oh, he was a son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He was a son of Jacob. Jacob was, remember, the father who had the 12 sons who started the tribes of Israel. Jacob was the youngest. Remember the 12 sons, they sold Joseph into slavery, and they took his robe back, his ornate robe back to the dad, to Jacob, and they said, "Hey, some ferocious animal killed your son." But all the while, Joseph was raised up in Egypt to become second in command over all of Egypt. Pretty cool story. It says, and his sons were priests of the tribe of Dan until the time they were of the captivity of the land. They continued to use the idol Micah had made all the time the house was of God was in Shiloh. All right, so a little history there. Let's do a recap to put all this into perspective. Judges 16 through 18, recap, commentary. A little drink break. Today, Samson visited a prostitute in Gaza, a Philistine city, so this is wicked on multiple levels. The locals plan to ambush him, but he leaves early and takes part of the city gate with him. Then he falls for a Philistine named Delilah, but the feeling isn't mutual. She's just a hired covert agent. The Philistine lord pays her 5,500 pieces of silver to find out the secret of his strength. Their curiosity suggests he isn't muscular. Otherwise, they'd know where his strength came from. But if he is, in fact, scrawny, then his feats of strength serve to glorify God, not his own body. We learned a lot about him today. He's a deep sleeper. He has 7 dreadlocks. Either he's blinded by lust or he's arrogant and assumes he can't be overpowered, or both. And he does not learn from his mistakes. Delilah tries 3 times to find out where his strength comes from, and either he doesn't trust her or he's just being sneaky as usual. He lies repeatedly. When he finally explains that he's under a vow of God, he refers to God by his generic name, Elohim, not his personal name, Yahweh. This shows how he views God. It's the difference between knowing God and knowing about God. We got to know God personally, not know about God. I told my wife yesterday, I can know about President Trump.
You sure did say this yesterday.
Yep, sure did. I can know President Trump's birthday. I can know his place of birth. I can know his wife's name, his son's name. Like, I can tell you, Trump's son's name is Barron Trump, and he has a daughter named Melania. I mean, his wife's Melania, and then he has another daughter that's married to Jared Kushner. What's her name?
I don't know, actually.
I forgot her name. I'm sure y'all know watching this. Put her name in the comment section below. So I can tell you those things. I can tell you he likes to play golf. I can tell you he's a real estate investor. He has Trump Tower, Trump Plaza. He has Mar-a-Lago in Florida. He's a president. Like, he just captured the general, Maduro. I can tell you those things about Trump, but I've never spent time with the man. I don't have a relationship with him. Does he know me? No. That is the difference in salvation between knowing about Jesus, that, oh, he died on the cross. You go to church to meet with him. No, that's not knowing Jesus, man. You got to have a personal relationship with Jesus. You have to get into heaven. Matthew 7 is a very scary passage. It says at the end times, God's going to judge the earth and he's going to separate the sheep from the goats. And he's going to say to those on his left, or is it his right, Sarah? I'm having a stage blank here.
I thought it was his right.
I will say to those on my left and those on my right. Matthew 25:34, people. I will say to those on my left and my right. The parable comes from Matthew 25:31 through 46, describing the final judgment where people are separated like sheep on the right who are blessed, and goats who are on the left and are cursed for eternal life or punishment, revealing true disciples by their acts of kindness to others in need. So he says, on his right. Okay, so his right, if you're looking at his right, it's gonna be the camera switches it, but it's gonna if you're sitting on a throne, to those on my right, and you're looking at me, that would be your left. Right? His left is your right, and his right is your left.
That always confused me.
So you want to be on the left on Judgment Day, because it says to those on his right. It says those on to his right who get into heaven. He says, "When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was in prison, you came to visit me. When I was cold, and you gave me clothes to wear." And they're going to say, "When did we see you?" And he's going to say, "When you did it to the least of these little ones, these your brothers and sisters, you did it unto me." Because he lives in other people, guys. He lives in the hearts of humanity, man. He works through humanity. But then on his left, he's gonna say, "You didn't do these things," and they're gonna say, "When did we not do those things?" And he's gonna say, "When you didn't do it to the least of these, to your brothers and sisters, you didn't do it for me." He's gonna say the scariest words in the Bible: "Depart from me, I never knew you." What? Depart from me, I never knew you. This is me going up to Donald Trump, not having a relationship with him, trying to get into the White House. They put me in handcuffs and they take me to the door and they say, "Do you know this guy?" And Donald Trump goes, "No, get him out of here. I don't know him." Donald Trump would say, "I never have had a relationship with this guy. I never met this guy. I don't know this guy." So this is a question of the day and the question of your life. Does Jesus know you? Not just do you know about him, does he know you? Guys, that is my prayer. That is the only reason why we're doing this reading, my wife and I, with you, is because we want Jesus to know you. We want you to take that step. He's knocking at the door of your heart. That's in Revelation 3:20. It says that. "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and have a relationship with them. I'll come in and dine with them, have a relationship, spend time with them." When you have dinner with somebody, you spend time with them. Oh, guys, I want you to have a relationship with God. That is my only desire. And I pray that whoever is listening to this video to this point, I pray that for you. I want that for you more than I want anything else in life. More than I want money for myself, more than I want food for myself, more than I want prosperity for myself. It says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." So I want to be saved. Like, I want to go to heaven. I want God to know me, right? I want to know God. I want to be prosperous and like not go to hell. Are you kidding me? I want to be delivered from all my sin and hate and torment and poverty, like, misery, depression. I don't want any of that stuff in my life. I want Jesus in my life. I want health, wealth, and prosperity, man. I want blessing in my life. So if I want that for me, then I should want that for you. That is the motive for us making this video today. So, interesting how this topic came up. And I pray that for you right now. God, please save every person who's watched this video up into this point. And you know what? Please save the ones who even started this video and didn't make it to this point. Just have extra mercy and grace on people, God. Just the same way you don't want anyone to perish and go into hell, God, I don't want them to perish and go into hell either. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. Today's God shot. It said, okay, so it talks about Samson destroying the temple of Dagon. It says, when he meets a Levite named Jonathan, who is appointed to live in Judah, Micah realizes this is a chance to have an actual Levite priest. He tries to use God for selfish gain. He also makes his own ephod. That's a breastplate that they would wear with jewels on it. It's good that he wants to know God's will, but he goes about it in ways that dishonor God. He's more interested in getting answers and being more powerful than in drawing others near to God. The tribe of Dan never drove out the Canaanites, so they're looking for a new home. They ask Jonathan if it's okay to abandon the land God allotted. He gives them hopeful but wicked counsel. So they head to a town called Laish and kill unsuspecting people in a land not allotted to them before asking Jonathan to be their unauthorized priest in their unauthorized land. Whoa, they were way off. So today's God shot, guys, is this. Samson doesn't call God by his real name until the very end. And God meets this blind, rebellious prisoner in his hour of need. He doesn't say, "No, you've been screwed up too many times." God shows up with a yes to Samson's prayer, and he uses his tragic story as one of the steps towards setting his people free from oppression. He wants intimacy with us. Even in prisons and on deathbeds, he's ready to come closer. And that's good news for us. whether we're in dire straits or in a place of abundance, because He is where the joy is. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. Know Jesus and be known by Jesus today. Have a great day, guys. Goodbye.